Hello guys, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Hope RBI. Most of the aspirants had queries regarding the daily time management for the RBI Grade B examination. Most of the students are confused whether what topics to read compulsorily daily so that we will be mains ready kind of before the preliminary examination of RBI Grade B. So that is what I am here to talk about. The things that you need to sort of read or prepare daily without wasting even a single day. I will be talking about all those things and what to study alternatively. For example, first of all, taking one subject and after a few days, after 10 to 15 days, taking another subject. That kind of strategy I will also discuss in this video. So stay tuned for that. And if you find this video beneficial for yourself, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with every aspirant who is preparing for RBI Grade B. So let's talk about the daily tasks. So since current affairs are very important for you, both in the preliminary phase as well as in the mains examination, so you have to study the current affairs daily. I have shared the resources. I'm again telling you, Affairs Cloud is a very good resource to cover the current affairs. So Affairs Cloud, you have to dedicate 1.5 to 2 hours daily for preparing current affairs. If you are doing the daily current affairs, that is well and good. You can dedicate almost 1.5 hours, so that in half an hour you will cover the daily current affair, and in the rest 1 hour you can revise the previous current affairs. Secondly, PIB. You have to cover PIB daily. I'm not talking about the daily PIB which is updated, day wise. I'm talking about even if you are covering monthly PIB, you have to study it daily, because the revision is the key here. In ESI portion or in finance portion, there are some specific data in objective paper that are asked which are directly from PIB, so you have to be cramming a lot of stuff. So what is easier to cram? To study daily. That is why you are supposed to cover PIB daily. You can dedicate almost 1 hour to cover PIB daily. Moving on, you have to cover the reports and indices. Reports and indices you can directly cover from Affairs Cloud, and even if you are enrolled to some courses and they are offering you some kind of compilations regarding the reports and indices, you can definitely check those out and you can cover report and indices from that. So reports and indices you can dedicate 30 minutes to 1 hour as you feel comfortable. Moving on, you have to cover the government schemes daily, because from last year, some of the questions regarding government schemes are asked in the preliminary phase as well. So that is why you need to put focus on the government schemes daily. I have already told you in my previous video regarding the daily timetable, which I will link it right here. So I've already told you that you should set a target of covering almost 5 to 7 government schemes daily now, because the time is less and you have to cover more and more. So you can dedicate almost 1 to 1.5 hours for the government scheme as well. Or talking about the government schemes, you also need to keep in your mind that you only have to read the relevant government schemes which are currently in news or mentioned in PIB, whatever kind of news you are reading, or which is related to your syllabus as well. Don't read aimlessly. You have to keep that particular thing in mind as well. Moving on, talking about the major reports. Let me erase this. Talking about the major reports. What kind of major reports I am talking about? Major reports like economic survey and union budget and world development report. All of those things you have to study it daily. Okay, you can set a target of 5 to 7 days for a particular major report. For example, you have to dedicate almost 5 to 7 days for economic survey, or 3 to 4 days for union budget, or 3 to 4 days for world development report, or any kind of report. For example, annual report by RBI. All of these things you have to cover. So for that you can dedicate almost 1.5 to 2 hours daily. Okay, that you need to study daily for cramming all of those concepts as well as cramming all the data which is given in the reports. Very, very important for you to cover. That is why it is very important to cover all these things: current affairs, your PIB, your major reports, your simple reports and indices, your government schemes. You have to cover these things daily, because not only will they help in your preliminary phase, but also in the mains examination. You will obviously be mains ready before prelims. Talking about quant, reasoning and English, you have to cover these things daily as well. You can dedicate almost composite time of 2.5 to 3 hours to this particular compilation, basically these topics, quant, reasoning, English together. And you also have to set the targets for your daily preparation. For example, if you are studying quant, if you are studying from the basics, you set the target of covering a topic. For example, set a target of 2 days to cover the topic of, let's say, a time and work. Take this topic and cover as much as you can, every type of question that you find either on the internet or on the sources which I have discussed with you, or in any book which you are covering. You have to dedicate a certain amount of time to these, and you can daily dedicate almost 1 to 1.5 hours in quant or reasoning or English. So in terms of composite time, you can dedicate 2.5 to 3 hours, or even 3.5 hours, if you feel comfortable in this. And if you feel like you need more practice or more concentration in these subjects, quant, reasoning, English, because you already know the level is not easy. It is very difficult. Even of the English section, English is not at all comprehensible. You have to put your A game in English as well, because it is a scoring subject and you need to score well in English as well. So that is why I am emphasizing this. And these are the things that you need to cover daily. And after that, moving on to the subjects, which I've already told you, moving on to the subjects regarding the phase 2. So talking about the ESI, finance and management. Most of the current affair part of ESI and finance, I've already told you that you need to cover daily. And talking about the static portion, start with the management. Okay, dedicate almost 9 to 10 days for management. Management is very easy to understand, very basic things. I've shared the resources with you. They are very concise, they are very good. And even if you are studying from any online coaching material available, you can definitely check that out, and you can cover your management within 9 to 10 days. There is not too much to grasp in this particular subject. Talking about, then you should move on to the finance section, because in finance section there are the topics which you will be making yourself aware, or you must have been aware of those topics while reading the newspaper. You also I forgot a very important part. Even if you feel comfortable with it, you have to read almost 30 minutes. You have to dedicate 30 minutes to a daily newspaper. Don't read too much into it, just read the editorial section. That is it. Don't read too much news, because you will find most of the news on Affairs Cloud or PIB. So no need for that. You just need to analyze the editorial sections. Very, very helpful for the mains descriptive portion as well as for the interview phase. So after covering the management in about 9 to 10 days, you have to dedicate almost 10 to 15 days for your finance section, because you will be encountering some of the terms, some of the newer terms. I've already shared you various resources, or if you are even enrolled in any of the coaching material or any of the coaching available online, you can definitely check it out and try to cover the finance section in 10 to 15 days. And after that, the rest can be dedicated to almost I guess 10 to 15 days can be dedicated to ESI section. And in ESI section also, you have to cover important topics before the preliminary phase. For example, I've already told you, you have to cover the inflation portion, you have to cover the national income and growth and development, poverty alleviation and employment generation, and you have to cover the all of these monetary policy, fiscal policy, and some of the details like what was the situation of Indian economy before the 1991 reforms, and what happened after that, how much of a drastic change was witnessed after the impact of 1991 reforms. All of these things can be covered very easily. You can cover almost each and every section which is given in your syllabus before your social security or should I say social issues. All the things which are given in the economy portion, growth and development, and all of these things you can cover definitely before your preliminary phase. Very easy to cover, and I've shared all the resources from which you can cover it. And all the current affairs portion of ESI, you will be definitely covering it daily. So in my personal opinion, while covering all of these things daily, you should dedicate almost 2 to 3 hours per subject daily for your mains preparation. For example, you should dedicate, along with all of those things which I discussed before, you should dedicate almost 2 to 3 hours for management. And after that, when you will be done with management, you should move on to the next subject, which is finance, and you should dedicate almost 2 to 3 hours for those particular 2 to 3 hours for finance itself. And after that, after you cover finance, you can move on to the ESI section. So that is what your whole daily schedule should look like. I will summarize it right here. So first of all, newspaper, 30 minutes of newspaper daily. Newspaper, okay, 30 minutes. After that, you can move on to the Affairs Cloud. which you have to cover daily. After that, you can move on to the PIB. Okay, then after that you can move on to the major report, any report which you choose, be it economic survey or union budget or whatever. After that, you can move on to the some of the reports and indices which you can cover either from Affairs Cloud or from any compilation you find online. Okay, reports and indices. Moving on, you should definitely cover your government schemes. Very important, you have to cover them daily. All of these things you have to cover daily. After that, you should move on to the QRE composite section. You have to cover, you can do anything. If you are well prepared already, you can just move on to the mock test. You should take a mock test. You should try to take a mock test daily, because it will really help you to grab onto the concepts, and also make you aware of the time. It kind of simulates the environment of the actual examination, so you can definitely do that. And if you feel like you have to take mocks, but after a few amount of time, after your let's say after past 1 month, this month you are thinking that you have to take mocks after your 1st May, you can definitely do that. You have to prepare QRE daily. But moving on, you have to these are the all things that you need to study daily. And after that, you should move on to the phase 2 static portion, which is management first. And after covering management, stop reading management, move on to the finance. And after reading finance, if it is done, move on to the ESI and also some of the important topics of ESI. You will not be able to cover complete ESI. If you are able to cover, well and good for you. But if you are not able to cover, try to put your more focus, more emphasis on some of the important topics of ESI, because other topics, about 60 to 70% of the chunk of ESI which you will encounter in your examination will be all of these things which you are already prepared for. So even if some of the topics which are not actually more important from the examination point of view, even if you miss it before the preliminary, you can easily cover it after the preliminary examination or before your mains examination. So you can definitely do that. So this must be the strategy, this must be the daily task that you need to achieve for your preparation, because the time is very less and there is a lot of chunk for you to do. So all the very best to every aspirant. I'm also doing my best this time to prepare for this particular exam, and I'm not very much active over the Telegram or the YouTube world, because I'm also putting my more focus on this particular exam. As you guys already know, I'm preparing for it, and so I will try my best to answer all of your queries if I am online. And you guys know that this has been the most important thing that I have put major priority on in my life. So that is why I assure you that whatever I find troublesome in my own preparation, and most of the aspirants are feeling trouble in while preparing for this exam, I will definitely share it on this particular channel. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for subscribing, and share this video with every aspirant who is preparing for RBI Grade B. So thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day.